everybody, I'm back for day 2 of my December daily, and I'm going to use a little bit of a nice background paper today instead of the book pages. And the prompts are giraffe and playing cards. So that's I did pick out 2 different kinds of playing cards that I wanted to use. And I did like the little vintage ones for the side with the giraffe, especially that one with palm trees. Those are from Ireland, and they are very old playing cards. So that was just perfect, and I really did love the black and white. And I picked out the 2, of course, because it's day 2 on all the playing cards. So well, we've got this great giraffe that LUISE gave to us as a freebie to use, and it really looks great. And I enlarged it. It's much larger than what she had, and of course that does make it just a little bit fuzzier, but unfortunately, I had printed it already 3 times because the first time I printed it on yellow paper, and oh my gosh, it was stunning, to say the least. So anyway, we're going to get this paper on, and it does, I'm putting it on sideways, so all the writing is sideways, which doesn't matter a bit, and I kind of, I mean, it's just not something that you really notice. But I did want to make sure that I got it glued down really tightly. So I put plenty of glue on it to keep it down, and then I had to pull it off and readjust it. So anyway, it finally got that side glued, and now we're going to get this side, and this time I'm going to glue right directly onto the book. So, and then push it in. But what happened is there's a little bit of a extra edge. When I pushed it down into the middle, it pulled it up a little bit. So I've got that little edge there. And I'm just going to use some washi tape with some Christmas. Well, first I thought about doing that, but then I thought, oh, that would be much better, maybe across the top. So I'm not going to use that for the side. So I did find some washi tape, and it's quite bold, but you aren't going to know that hardly because I didn't get it quite on the paper. I started to age the paper and just add a little bit of distress ink, and then I decided, oh, I better put, while that glue was still wet, I better put the washi tape on. So see how I totally missed it. So it's going to be very hard for you to see that those are actual little Christmas symbols, and I liked the colors with that. I know it's bold, and it looked it looked a little bit too distinct, so I knocked it back a little bit with some white gesso, and decided to gesso the entire page, both pages. So we just added a little bit, just enough to soften everything and put everything kind of in the background so that the items that I put on the page would be a little more featured. So anyway, so I was playing around with this and I put some on the book. I just kind of popped it out, and it all splashed back up on my hair and face, and and it was quite a mess. So I had to stop and go back and clean up, and then come back to this. See how seamless my transition was? You never knew that. So anyway, that's fun. I love using gesso, and I think it made a nice touch there, and it looks older and more in fitting with the book. We had to dry it. I had to dry it, make sure it was completely dry before I put the rest of my brown ink on it. So I'm finally going to get something put down, and I'm cutting off the words off of this and trying to get both sides trimmed out really nice. And that's a really good trick, to fold it over and then both sides have exactly the same roundness. So I like that. It did seem a little big, so I redid it and cut it a little bit more, and then now it's a little bit thinner. See how that works there? That's much better. And I'm going to use it as a pocket. So I pulled this from my stash, and that is not paper that I aged. That is actual vintage paper that I picked up at the bins. It was in a bunch of recipes, mixed in with a bunch of recipes, and I tore the bottom of the page off that was blank, and I just love it because that is actual vintage paper. And it's funny how we can make it look like that, but when you're working with the real thing, it's more interesting, it's more fun for me anyway. And I thought, well, I've got to be sure to tell them that this is real vintage paper. And it's funny, I do have a lot of it. I try to pick up anything that has age to it at the bins. So, but I wasn't quite sure how to use it, and I flipped it every which way, and just wasn't happy. I just wasn't feeling it. I don't think I could work. I didn't want to put it there. But I did want to get this down, and of course I didn't remember to edge it with my ink, so I have to do that after I glued it. It's a wonder I have any ink left in my ink pads. I'm sure they all have glue in it from when I'm edging on a glued piece of paper. But this wasn't too hard and didn't take too long to get a little vintage edge. So the prompts being, I've looked kind of ahead a little bit at there, and it looks like every day is a different animal. So the December daily is going to be somewhat animal themed, and now it's my job to make it Christmassy. So that's taking a little bit of thought here. So anyway, we're going to get that down. And yay, finally something is glued. Finally got something going here. And it may not seem like a long time to you, but I've cut out a lot of fiddling around for sure. So anyway, I'm still trying to think, oh gosh, what do I do with this? How do I fix this? How do I make it look right? How do I make it look the way I want it to look? And I decided, nope, it doesn't work there. It's just not going to work. And as soon as I picked that up, I knew that was what I wanted. And lo and behold, I remembered to do some edging before I glued it down. So that shows I am learning. I'll forget by the next time, but I'm learning at this point. And it's got Louisa and Barbara's name on it, and those are the two that are working together as collaborating for this December Daily Challenge. So I will put their channels in the description box below. So be sure to look for that and take a look at their videos and see what they did, because both of them did something completely different for the challenge than what I did. So yesterday's challenge, I pretty much did the same thing LUISE did, just because I liked it so well. So anyway, I cut this out to use on another section of the page, actually on the other page, and it fell on the giraffe, and I thought, perfect. This actually brings it all, the poinsettias and holly actually bring out Christmas for the giraffe, and it kind of makes it pulls it together for me. So so I was really excited about that, but it's so big that the cards aren't going to fit down in there like a pocket. So what do? You make a big tag. And so I just picked that out, and I love the blue on it, but you couldn't write anything on the back because the back had a black pattern. And with the card being black and white, I kind of thought, well, you know, it might look better if I used the black side, the black and white pattern on the front, and the blue where I could actually write and journal on the back of it. So that worked. And look, and then you can leave it up high and you can see the 2, and I won't have to add a number because it'll show that it's day 2 for me. So yay for all those things just kind of coming together at the last minute. So that worked out. Of course, I do want to edge that. And another thing that LUISE, when I watched her video, had done, she had taken a card and peeled back the corners to age it even more, even though, like mine, hers was a vintage card already. So I thought that was really, really a good idea. Now, she peeled back all 4 corners, but I think for me, just one corner peeled back makes it look more authentic. So I like that. And so I only peeled back one corner. And you know how cards have that backing on it? It's really easy to peel back that little corner. So here we go. So now I'm going to use my paper here. And I loved the little torn edges there, you know, where you pulled it out from the spiral notebook. And I got those glued down really well, and I really love that. That was just perfect, and it was exactly what I wanted and exactly how it looked, how I wanted it to look. I did add a little, I took a minute to sand that so that the glue would stick. It's too shiny and slick, I think, to trust it for the glue. And then while I had the sandpaper in, I thought, oh, I had a little sanding to the picture and age it even that much more. So anyway, I got that all ready, and oh dear, it didn't show the 2 on the top. And I thought, oh, wouldn't you know, now I'm going to lose my favorite part of the paper. But there's no help for it. I would rather have the 2 showing than the torn part. So I added a little more paper. I just, right from underneath me, I've got all that nice little deli paper that's printed. It's a Tim Holtz roll of deli, and I went ahead and I pulled that out and added a little more to it and put one of these in. I love to use that. I've almost gone through 1,000 of those those little rings. I had a little piece of lace that's like an eyelet cotton lace, and I thought, oh, that'll be good for a tie, and I tore it off of the scallop side, and boy, it is really old. I mean, I didn't even have to cut it. It just pulled apart, while I was playing with it, and I thought, wow, this is old lace. So anyway, I that just warmed my heart. I'll remember that when I look through this in days to come, or I should say years to come. I thought about adding a key also, but I thought, well, maybe I'll save that for another time. I've already got it tied, and I might save that key for another time. But I wanted something kind of at the bottom. I wanted something a little extra on here. It just seemed like it needed something. Didn't really matter where it went, but it needed something more. And I liked that little leaf being that there's palm trees and the giraffe, and anyway, the color of the leaf just seemed right. So I was pretty happy with that. I thought I would put it mostly on the bottom, and then on a whim, I just put it at the top, and there it was. Sometimes you just have, you overthink things, and so I like to just go with it, just go with my gut. So I put it up there, and it's kind of nice because that shows 2 at the top, and I'm pretty happy with that. So now we've got the giraffe, and we've got the tag, and we've got the number 2, and both, or the number 2 card, and that's basically the prompts. I could have been done, just sprinkled a little paint on it and been done, because sprinkles is the last thing to do. They didn't call it sprinkling. What did they call it? I can't think of what they called it. I had to have that book with me in here. But anyway, I have 2 pages, and I have other things in mind that I want to do. And I like mine to be just a little bit busy, but not too busy. So this this one is just is what I was originally going to do, and I got started with the giraffe first. So then I had cut out that little holly thing to put at the bottom, kind of on the bottom, well, on your left. No, on your right, on that little box there that she's leaning over. So anyway, so that's what it was cut out for. And so I didn't have anything for that, but I wanted to. I went ahead and cut out something, and now I'm grabbing that paper and I'm going to use it. Doggone it, I've got that paper, and I'm going to make sure that it gets on this page somewhere. And looking at it after I edited it, I thought I should have made it a little, it looks like the side of a building with all those lines. And I thought, oh, I wish I'd have made a little peaked roof. But anyway, I'm happy with it. It does seem like when I do things and I look back on them later, I might do it a little bit different. I might do it better, and so I can't worry about that. I just do things as I do them, and it's funny, but when I close the book and I go back to it later, it's exactly how I want it. I really do always feel like I'm happy with how it goes. I don't regret too much. So anyway, I pulled out this other little black and white cat to kind of tie in to the black and white card on the other page. And I decided to put that in place where I was going to use the sprig of holly that is now decorating the giraffe's neck. And I think it even works even better. So there you go. Sometimes changes work out really, really well. Now this is the front part of the lace that I put on the tag. So I'm just deciding, which way should I do it? Which way should I do it? I like it across the top, and I liked it across the side. and it did have some staining on it, that one big purple stain. I don't know where that came from, but it was already on there. And I decided I didn't like it, so I took it off. It might have been better had I coffee stained it, taken the time to coffee stain it, but you know, this is a daily thing, and we're not going to get too involved. Well, I should get too involved, but I do try not to let it take over my day. So anyway, gonna glue that down, and I decided on this side and instead of over the top, just because it was different, just because I think everybody would probably have picked putting it on the top. So I'm going to do it a little bit different, put it on the side. Now I've got these beautiful little flower cards, and they had a flower back, and I love the back, but again, I wanted to show the two, and I like the little blue because there's just a hair bit of blue in that paper background. And I really loved how it sits, and I thought, I'm just going to glue that down because I don't need it for a journal card. I have a journal card for this day. So I glued it, just a little dab of glue, and there it's going to stay forever. So I like it. I like how that looks. So we're moving on, and we're finishing up here, and I grabbed a stamp just because I hadn't done any stamping, and I picked a little bit pink, and I put five stamps. First I did 3, and then I added 2 more on the other page, just so that you kind of keep in that rule, 3 to 5 is what you want. You don't ever want an even number. And there we go. The finishing touch here, the last, well, almost the last thing, is I like to always add a little border. And I'm so happy I found my brown pen. That just popped back into my life last night. And I thought, yay, I have missed it. I probably used it just about on everything I've done. But I'm very happy to have it back. So I always do the faux sewing because I was given a sewing machine and I like it, but I have a hard time seeing to thread it and learning to use it and dragging it out and setting it up. And so what I'm going to do is just try to get it running for one thing and then do a lot of sewing in one day, and then I can put it away. But for just daily things. I did forget to film the sprinkling, which is the last prompt. But I did use white and added the sprinkles and of paint just to as the last of the page. That's the last thing I did.